Welcome to this episode of the She Scales podcast, where today we're going to be talking about the 6 steps for you to go through in order to hit your first 6 figures. I am super excited for this episode. It's going to be juicy AF. So prepare to get your pen and paper out, prepare to get your notes app out on your phone. We are going to be going through these 6 steps in detail to help you not just to scale and hit your first 6 figures, but even if you're someone who has already hit 6 figures, you're on 5-figure months, there's going to be stuff in here that is going to serve as a really good refresher for you. These are the most foundational elements, which means you're always going to be refining these things. It's not a one and done. It's not a tick box exercise. It's not, I've done that, so I get to move on. No. These are the things that you're always going to be refining. So there's going to be value in this episode, no matter whether you're someone that is just starting out versus someone who is good few years into business. This is going to serve as a really great reminder. So I'm excited to dive in. And I'm also excited from a little personal perspective, because when I was looking at what had already come out on the podcast, and I was like, what could I bring out? Do you know, I found this masterclass sat in my Canva history. This is one that I taught absolutely ages ago. And I thought, do you know what? This would be really, really valuable on the podcast. So for those of you that are a few years into business, there is so much gold sat in your library that isn't accessible. Whether that's past masterclasses that you've taught, whether that's past lives that you've taught, free workshops that you've taught, that the recordings are no longer visible, or unless you've got them up in a Facebook group somewhere, I know that I'm sat on years of material that unless it's in a link or in the membership, it's actually not visible. So there are so many trainings that you guys, unless you were there, have no idea about. So I'm going to be bringing some of these through to the podcast because there is gold to be shared with the nation, and I'm excited. So let us get into the 6 steps to 6 figures, baby. Whether you're a coach, mentor, content creator, service provider, someone who is changing the world with what she freaking does, get ready, this episode is for you. Okay, we're going to just dive straight in. And before we come to any strategy stuff, number 1 has got to be your solid AF mindset. Solid as fuck. Now, I appreciate when you're scaling to your first 6 figures is probably when your mindset is the wobbliest because there's so much overwhelm. And at that point, you've not got a huge amount of evidence just yet of everything that's working really well, because to a certain extent, you've got to throw some shit at the wall before you get evidence of what stuff's working. So totally get that in that first 6 figures, it is going to be a hard mindset battle. If you have it easy peasy, I love that for you. Really, really love that for you. I know that my first 6 months was the hardest for me. Your story might be different, but I think when you're in those early stages, you're posting, you're not sure what's resonating. You're feeling good in some areas and you're feeling terrible in some other areas. There's a lot of overwhelm. There's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of moving quick in some places and moving really slow in other places. So it can really do a number on your mindset. So you have got to make sure that you are protecting your mindset and really working on that every single day. You do not get to skip past this part even when you start making money. Not at all. If anything, do it more. But in terms of your mindset, make sure that you are practicing this daily. You are building your confidence daily. You are reminding yourself of your unique value daily. Reminding yourself of your worth and your impact, which is not tied to your success, might I add. For those of you high achievers whose energy and confidence dips if you had one bad month, I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you. And again, I totally get it. I've come from a corporate sales background. Our performance was measured on what our last month's figures were. So you can imagine the detachment that has had to go on to get away from that. So remember, your success is not tied to whatever your income was last month or how many clients you signed or whatever happened, right? You are valuable. You are bringing impact to this world. You are changing the world with what you do. And have some long-term vision here. I get that it's hard when you're just looking in the here and now and you're like, where is my next client coming from? But you have to look at the long-term vision and keep that in mind. How are you changing the world with your big, big vision? So be thinking yes, of course, you're going to prioritize the next few months and what offers you're bringing out. And we'll get to that in a second. But what I'm saying is Don't be so narrow-minded to only be looking in this day or this week or these next few weeks, because you have to lift your head up and see the bigger vision, your impact. Because when you've got that solid mindset about the future, then whatever's happening, this little mess, problem or situation that's happening right now, loses a lot of its impact when you look at the bigger picture. If you're only looking down and placing all your emphasis here, then of course it's going to seem really big. But when you're like, do you know what? Okay, this situation here is a bit of a hot mess. Would prefer it not to be here. But in terms of the bigger picture, this is just one stepping stone on the journey to my inevitable success. And there's going to be other messy stepping stones on the way, in and between great stepping stones, and it's all part of the journey. So I have to experience these things because it's all helping me to grow into the Wonder Woman that I am becoming. Oosh! I wish somebody had told me that. So if you're in your feelings for whatever reason, this is your like love and shove, like, yeah, give you a cuddle, but also kick you up the arse. Come on, get up, get moving. Because this is just one small step. So if you're having a mindset wobble, like, okay, like have a cup of tea or a shot of tequila or whatever it is that you need and get your ass back on, because this is one small step onto the woman that you're becoming. And there's going to have to be a lot of other good steps, yes, but there's going to be a lot more hard steps. So you need to prepare yourself for that, build some resilience, and honestly, not give too much like gravity to any one small thing. Nobody's coming to save you. This is your tough talk. You know, I can be cool on and like good cop, but I can also be bad cop. Nobody's coming to save you. So you have to be the one that can pick yourself up out of the gutter. Even if someone's just kicked you to the curb or shit's gone wrong or whatever it is, you need to be the one that's coming to get you back out of there. Pick yourself up and carry on. Alrighty? This is building your resilience. It's building your tolerance. And in the long run, you'll be 100 times better off for it. And this is why it's got to be hard in the beginning. Do you know, I did not see this was where this podcast was going, but we're here now. It's got to be hard in the beginning. Otherwise, you'll never make it to the end. If it was all hunky-dory for your first 6 figures and then it became challenging, you would not be prepared for it. So in the beginning, all of this that's going wrong, because I truly, truly believe that you pay attention and you learn far more when it's not going right than when it is going right. Because when it's all going right and you're just riding that wave and you're like, woohoo, you're not bothering to pay attention to why it's going right. You're just enjoying riding the wave, as you should. But when it goes wrong and you fall off the surfboard, then you have to look at why you fell off the surfboard. Why didn't you ride the wave? What happened? And you've got to analyze your strategy. So there's far more to be learned from, inverted commas, failure, far more lessons, far more value. So actually that first bit when you're scaling to your first 6 figures and there's a lot that goes wrong and there's a lot of tests and a lot of mindset wobbles, there is so much to be learned in that. So try and shift your perspective on that to be like, okay, if things aren't going to plan, what is it trying to show me? Where is my opportunity here? How can I look at this differently to see, is there something that I've missed? Is there an opportunity? Is there someone that I can get into their space for mentorship? Because as I'm going to go through these 6 steps, you'll be able to see which of the 6, or maybe there's a few, that actually is your not strongest area. So knowing that, go get into spaces, whether that's mine or somebody else's, who's an expert in that area that can help you improve in that area. Go get around people who are doing the things that you want to do so that you can do them better. Okay? So coming back into mindset. So we've talked about building your confidence, practicing this daily, reminding yourself of your unique value, reminding yourself of your worth, which is not tied to your success. Celebrating all the reasons why you're amazing. Don't skip over this. This isn't some basic little like affirmation card where you're just like, I'm amazing because. Like, this is essential. You have to do this, again, because nobody's coming to do it for you. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be prepared to go and shout your success, however small it is, from the freaking rooftops. Because one thing that we're going to come to later on, when we're talking about like content and sales and whatnot, is momentum. And that momentum one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself is to celebrate everything. If you're trying to create that wave, create that momentum, it comes from you and your energy first. You hear me talk a lot about main character energy. It comes from you celebrating everything. So when I was getting started, I would celebrate literally everything. If someone sent me a message that was positive, I'd share that with excitement. If someone booked a call, I'd share that with excitement. Like, of course, if someone signed and I booked a client or I got amazing feedback and all the obvious things, of course I would celebrate the shit out of those. But any little thing, it did not matter how small it was, I would share that. Because at the end of the day, anything that is happening within the business is marketing material. It's proof of momentum. So if you're keeping that to yourself behind the scenes and you're not sharing it, you're actually killing the momentum yourself. And I wouldn't recommend that. If you're getting, whether it's positive testimonials, excited messages, bookings, inquiries, like anything that is showing proof of interest or demand behind the scenes, share that shit. Share it from the freaking rooftops. Your stories, your content, your LinkedIn, your email, your TikTok, like anywhere you operate, we should be seeing evidence of either interest, bookings, client wins, DMs, messages, anything that is showing success and like demand. Share that. People want what's already hot. So you should absolutely be sharing what's in demand. We have gone on a roller coaster, but it's a valuable roller coaster. So we're coming back in to mindset. Share, celebrate all the reasons why you're amazing. Share them loud, share them proud. You have got to be your biggest cheerleader. So this step is a non-negotiable. Something that I like to do, I've done it with all of my clients, whether you've taken a group program, Sold Out Sales Academy, whether you're inside my Your Freedom Formula group, I always get my clients to record their wins, even if it is 3 bullet points a month. This is what I like to do, is create a Google Doc or a spreadsheet, something where you've got all the months of the year, and just write down 3 bullet points of things that you are proud of from that month. If you can do more, great, go for it. Knock yourselves out. Wholeheartedly encourage it. But if we just go for 3, do that at the end of each month. And when you get to the end of the year and you're looking at everything that's happened in entrepreneurship, and I can say this, when did I start? September 2020. So we're approaching 4 years, which is absolutely crazy. You'll get to the end of some years and be like, oh my God, like, did I do enough? What even happened this year? So when you have somewhere where you have collected your wins of the month, even if it's just those 3 bullet points, in one place, you will go back to that document and see quite how much it is that you did. When you're in the weeds of just the day-to-day and you're like, on to the next thing, it can feel like you don't get a lot done. But when you look back over the whole year, those 3 bullet points, 3 per month, you'll see quite how much you did in a year. Whether it was huge client wins, whether it was a new program launched, whether it was a successful masterclass, whether it was a new system upgrade, whether it was, I don't know, a really well-performing post, or you won an award for something, or whatever it is, write that stuff down, even if it's a nomination, any sort of recognition, success, or just something that you are proud of from that month. Write it down. So this will also help. If you heard people talk about, some people do a wins folder, some people do a love folder. It's that kind of pick me up when you need a little bit of love and you need a little bit of energy. You can go to that space to remind yourself who the fuck you are. So maybe that's your wins folder. So you could either collect a folder that's all full of your client feedback and your all your messages, everything that you have achieved for your clients. So you could collect that all in one space. I like to look at everything that I've already done and quite how magnificent the year has already been. And that really, really helps give me clarity, give me perspective, and just bring me back to who the fuck I am and get me back on course. So that was huge. That's only part 1. So let's get into the other parts of the 6 steps to 6 figures. That clearly shows you how important mindset is, because none of the strategy is going to work if you don't have a solid mindset. So you're going to have to be regularly working to remove limiting beliefs, to be able to work past those, to get yourselves into spaces where you've got support, people can lift you up on the days where you can't lift yourself up, but also you're building that resilience to be able to lift yourself up. So that is essential. So let's move on to number 2, is building solid AF foundations. What I mean by this is strategic business foundations. Like, what is your business actually about? Who do you serve? Who is your ideal client? Where do you operate? What are your key marketing platforms? What is your key message? What is your key promise? All of these things, people are like, oh, I want to grow a 6-figure business. But when you ask them, what do you do? Who do you serve? And how do you help? Quite often, they can't even give you those 3. I'm like, excuse you? You're expecting to build a 6-figure business whilst still operating from a free Gmail account, or referring to yourself as a small business owner, like small is in the name, and you use that to describe yourself. Saying things like, I'm not there yet, and limiting your capacity and belief and reach before you've even got started. Not refining who your ideal client is, not doing your industry research before you bring out new products, services, or programs. Like, this is the basics, guys. You cannot skip past this. Do your market research. You cannot be expecting to bring out some groundbreaking offer if you literally haven't even bothered to research what is already out there. It baffles me how many people skip this stage. If you're expecting to launch a new program, new offer, and you can't say to someone how it differs from what else is out there on the market, how are you expecting to stand out? I'm doing my little tough cop routine again here, but sometimes there's a time for stroking your ego, and there's a time for just calling it as it is. Because there's a lot of shit offers out there. There's a lot of same content out there, but we'll come back to that. But this is the thing. If you were really, really clear on who the fuck you are and how you do it differently, your content wouldn't sound the same. Your offers wouldn't sound the same. Because nobody is you, and that is the whole point. So, when you're building your solid foundations for your 6-figure business, do your market research, what is already out there, clarify your top unique selling points, your USPs, aka what do you do, how do you help people, but how do you do it differently to other people who do that thing too? You know, let's not be completely blind to the fact that there's not hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who do what you do. You know? Maybe you've struck gold and you're the only person, or it's a very small niche, in which case, love that for you. You can get away with shite messaging because you're in a league of one. But for most people, you're not in a league of one, but you have to position yourself. We're going to come on to positioning in a second. But you really need to be clear on how, like, what you do succinctly, but then how you do it differently to other people who also do that thing. You know, if you can't say, I do this thing and here's how we're different, then you just sound like everybody else and it's forgettable. You've got maybe 3 seconds to make that first impression, whether this is on social media, whether this is you explaining it to someone that you've just bumped into and they go, oh, what is it that you do? And you've got to explain. It's not just a case of, oh, I do this and I help this people and this is how I help them. How do you do it differently? Make yourself memorable. How do you stand out from the crowd? Especially, I'm getting on my high horse now, especially if you say in your own messaging, I help you stand out from the crowd, but you cannot tell people how you stand out from the crowd that you are in. Snatching pearls today. But it's one of the most overused lines that I see. I help people stand out from the crowd, but people cannot explain to me how they stand out from their own peers. Like, it baffles. It absolutely baffles me. So please, for the love of God, be clear on how you do things differently. How do you stand out from the crowd? Because the other part of that is you wouldn't have to say to people, I help you stand out, if you stood out so clearly that it was obvious. Oosh. Well. We are coming today. I'm going to get messages after this episode airs about Sarah, who called me out left, right, and centre. I can feel it coming. Okay, so wrapping up on the foundations piece. Do your market research. Find out what it is that people want and need. You don't need to be bringing out offers, guessing about whether people want or need it. if you've based it in evidence. If you've gone and asked people who are your ideal client, because you're clear on who your ideal client is, and you've gone and asked them what it is that they're looking for, or you've got this offer and you've presented it to them and asked for feedback on it, and you've said, does this sound like it would be valuable? What about what's included? Would that work for you? Would you expect to see something else in there? What about the pricing? What about the delivery and the format? What, if you've got any other suggestions about if you were to invest in something like that, would that be valuable for you? And you've got a whole load of evidence of people that you've asked who've said, this sounds like it bangs. A, there's your sold out offer just from the people that you've asked before you've even taken it to market. But B, then when you come up to sell the thing, you're going to sell it with so much more confidence because you've backed it with research and evidence and proof. It's not just your own assumptions about what people want and need. It's based with evidence. So do your market research, find out what else is already out there that is similar. Again, clarify your top USPs. How is what you do different? How is this specific offer different to what is out there? Clarify who you help. Clarify which marketing platforms those people are on that you're targeting and why they need your help. What specific struggles is your ideal client struggling with and looking to solve quickly? And how can you solve those using your expertise? At this point, I'm going to put in a conversation because I was having this chat with some ladies who are inside my Your Freedom Formula group inside the community. And we were talking about the 3 key marketing principles. So I'm going to talk about them here because they're valuable as fuck and somebody needs to hear this. So I think it was Russell Brunson that said it. Don't fact check me on that, but I believe it was him from his Expert Secrets book. And of all the different areas of marketing, he said that there are 3 areas that will never run out of fashion, if you like. They will always be a need. Regardless of how trends come and go and generational needs come and go, these 3 areas are timeless and they will always be a need for human society. So those 3 things are health, wealth, and happiness. I'm going to come to wealth first. So this is your career stuff, your business stuff. So if you are targeting anyone who is either in the 9 to 5, this is going to be about how to get your next promotion, how to increase your salary, how to get the next leg up at work, that career progression. And if you're targeting businesses, this is around clients, sales, business growth from a financial perspective. So that's your wealth category, yeah? Advancement in the wealth capacity. How you can help someone to either make more money or progress in their business or career. Then there's the health category. So this is things like increasing your fitness, losing weight, dropping a dress size, eating more healthy, living longer, all of those kind of things, because people will always be looking to improve their health. So you've always got an industry there that is going to be alive and well. This is why we can see, 10 million Easter egg programs come out after Easter, and the same after Christmas and New Year, after they know that everyone has binged eating, 28-day programs, 7-day programs, lifting weight programs, like those things will always be needed. So we've had wealth, we've had health. The last one is happiness. So this is people's societal relationships, things like their friendship circles, love, so dating, relationships, finding a partner, finding love, finding friends. All of those things are super important for humans to feel like supported, loved, valued, and part of the community. So when you're looking at where to target your business, even if your business falls into a couple of those categories, hone in on one. Are you helping people to increase their wealth? Are you helping people to increase their health? Or are you helping people to increase their happiness? Pick one, run with it. When you do, your messaging will be so much clearer because you're going to be talking about how you help them to get a result that they already want. Yeah? Okay, that was quite the diversion. We're here now. So how can you think about what is the biggest struggle? Which of those categories does it fall into? How does what you do help them to advance in one of those 3 categories? If I cut this episode there, that would be valuable enough. But we carry on. So number 3 is positioning. Now I have touched on this a little bit because solid foundations was you making sure that your offer is based in need, analysing the market and putting your offer together. Positioning is how are you different? Where is the gap in the industry? What's your unique edge? How are you positioning yourself? And how is that doing you a favour or costing you money? Are you positioning yourself as the friendly, affordable anyone can have? Or are you positioning yourself as the premium, high-level, high-ticket? Okay, there's no right or wrong here, but if you're trying to scale quickly, it makes sense to do the latter. Because if you are affordable Annie, you'll be losing out on people who want the best service and they want it quickly. People actively buy premium. So whilst you can say, I want to be available to everyone, that'll be costing you from people who value high quality. So if scaling quickly is your priority, you don't want to be affordable Annie. I'm just going to put that out there. What is your signature offer? How is this signature offer different to what is out there? And your pricing strategy, how are you positioning that differently? Do you have like a main pricing with a payment plan option? Are you using like the charm pricing, which is when you go just underneath the whole, like 997, 998, 999 versus going just straight for the 2, which is premium pricing. If it ends in a 0 and it's just that solid hole on the number, it speaks of confidence. It speaks of authority. Whereas when you go just underneath, you're using that little, I'm going to go just underneath to make it more palatable and make the number seem smaller than it is, even though psychologically we know exactly what it is. So how you position yourself differently. By the way, yes, offers and pricing are 2 ways to do this, but so is your design, like your actual brand design. How you, when you look at your grid, does it look hot mess or does it look expensive? Because you can be positioning yourself and giving someone the impression of high ticket before they have even got to what your offers are and even seen your prices, just from how your grid looks and your content and messaging. So if you're using really good messaging and your design work looks high quality or clearly put together or well thought through, you'll be giving that impression of high ticket before someone lands even on your sales page. So that is positioning. You can be positioning yourself as affordable Annie or premium Polly. Number 4 is content and messaging. Now, of course, we could have endless episodes just on this one area. Your content and messaging is how you are attracting your ideal client that you've specified in your foundations that we did in number 2, and how you are attracting them with the words that you are using. Oosh. Oh my God, there's so much in here. There's so much in here, and I will do a separate episode on content and messaging. But ultimately, the purpose of good content is for you to not have to pay for advertising. So it's worthwhile getting really fucking good at this skill, because if you aren't, you'll be paying to play. You'll be paying for ads. You'll be doing endless cold outreach. This applies as well if you're not posting enough to be building your profile. If you aren't visible enough in that your audience isn't growing and it's either stagnant or just not big enough to be an easily found profile in the sea of people who do what you do, you're going to find that you're going to struggle to stand out. Because if your content isn't packing a punch and growing your audience daily, you will get lost into the crowd. So social media. So you either need to get good at content and messaging, or you're going to be paying for advertising. And in your unless you've made $1 million, I truly don't believe that you should be paying for advertising. If you are, that's your choice, but you don't need to. If your organic content was doing its job, you wouldn't need to be paying for advertising. So given that these social media platforms are free for you to use, why would you not be leveraging that? Because until you're super fucking clear on who your ideal client is and already good at reaching them and your content is performing well, what business do you have paying for advertising when you're not clear on who your ideal client is and you're not reaching them already? You'd be far better off getting your already well-performing content and then paying that to boost, rather than trying to pay guesswork and pay for ads when you really aren't clear on who your ideal client is. So this is going to be, the more steps you take, the better you practice, and you can learn what's working. So when it comes to your content and messaging, the whole purpose of your content is to attract your ideal client to you naturally, so that you create that space where people come to you, because if you haven't, ultimately, you're going to have to go to them. Now, obviously, I'm ex-sales. I've done the whole outbound thing. I've done the phone bashing, the picking up the phone, cold calling. I've done it all. It's not a vibe. It's not a space I want to go back to. So what a wonderful opportunity we have to literally use social media to create an environment where our perfect people come to us. Do you realize what a privilege that is in sales? Do you have any freaking idea what a privilege that is? Think back 20 years ago, you would not have had that opportunity. And your sales process for your business would have been sending letters in the mail, going knocking on door to door to ask people to work with you or buy from you or recommend you. It would have been picking up the phone to ring people. It would have been asking all your friends and family who they know, which, by the way, you should be doing that anyway. But it would have been either based on the phone. Did we have the internet 20 years ago? I don't even know. But it would have been picking up the phone or going door to door. So the fact that now you can sit on your sofa and post content that gets buyers coming to you is freaking insane. And I don't think that most people have any idea what a freaking privilege that is. And so when I hear people complaining about social media, I'm like, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? You have got such a golden opportunity that would have cost you hundreds, if not thousands of pounds per month back in the day. So the reality is that would have put most people out of business. Because if you're not bringing in the income that it takes you to market the business, you'd have to accrue debt before you even started making sales. So honestly, pick yourself up, look at what a freaking golden opportunity you've got right in front of you to post for free and get better at that skill that is saving you thousands every single month whilst bringing you clients. Golden. All right, now, this is basically your virtual leaflets. You're putting virtual leaflets out there into the ether so that people can be like, oh, that sounds good, and they'll come to you. Golden opportunity. The other thing with that is it's not just about speaking to who you really want to work with in your content and actually showing that you understand what their current lived experience is. You know, what is that looking like? What are their frustrations? What's stopping them from getting A to B? What does B look like? Those desires, those goals, the place that they would prefer to be. What does that freedom look like? How are you embodying that? We'll come to that in a second. Sticking with content and messaging, how are you showing, A, that you understand their problem? Where are they stuck? What's keeping them there? How are you teaching them that there's a better way? And how are you showing them goals or desire-based content that shows them an alternative way? Because don't forget, someone could be experiencing a problem and be totally unaware of it. They might just think that that is the way things are. So unless you create desire-based content about how the other way of doing things is, or a better way of doing things, it's not until someone sees that they go, huh. And that might be the first time that the penny has dropped. So there's that. Keep in mind as well that just the basics of having an optimized profile, looking high ticket, doing the most to get yourself visible, getting yourself out there, bigger than just on Instagram. Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on TikTok? Have you Googled yourself? Can people Google you? Think about your visibility. How are you collaborating with other people? How are you getting inside spaces that you don't own? Getting yourself out there to the world to do the most to get visible, to bring new eyes back to your page so that when they do come back to your page, they've got your content and messaging there that is perfectly designed for them, that is going to speak to them, and they will realise, oh my God, this person is exactly who I've been looking for. Or she's exactly what I needed. Or I didn't even know that I needed it, but I know that I need it now. So well-designed graphics, optimized profile, be building your brand, be building your visibility, high-value content that shows your expertise and positions you as the expert, messaging that attracts premium buyers. Build your connections, your community, and your relationships. It's not just about content and messaging, because you can put out the most banging content out there, but if you're not truly speaking to anyone, if you're not trying to build relationships, if you're not trying to get yourself known, if you're not commenting with other peers or others in your industry or interacting in conversations that are happening around you, like, how are you expecting to get visible? How are you expecting to build trust if people aren't speaking to you? So perhaps this is, and for some of you, I've got some of you in mind when I'm talking about this, some of you really need to build on your industry relationships. Your content can only do so much, but if you're not doing any networking to support that, to bring new eyes, or to get people engaging on your content by going and engaging on their content, how are you expecting to build community and warmth and use that interest to come back to your profile? So make sure you're building connections, community, and relationships, not just with potential clients, but with others in your industry. Remember, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And just from a networking perspective, because I'd say for the first year to 18 months, God knows, I was building really good relationships, but just with people who are on Instagram. And whilst that is good, it could be better. It could be better, because when you're only insular on one platform, you really have to do some work to get known in the wider industry. The wider industry is not on any single one platform. So it is your duty to spread your seed further. If you're listening to this and you're in your first, you've not hit 5K months yet, then fine. Concentrate on one platform. Do that well. Get good at that first before you try and branch into another platform, because every platform has its own rules, its own way of creating content, its own way of high performing content and all of that. So if you're not yet at 5K months, absolutely just focus your attention in one place and get really freaking good at one place, get really good consistency in that place, be getting clients consistently from that place, hone in on that one place. When you are already having consistent success and you're ready to add a bit more to your belt, branch the fuck out. It's no good if only people on one platform know who you are. The industry is a lot bigger. So if you're building, not even if, you are building a wildly successful business. So why, if you're already hitting 5, 10K months, are you only on one platform? What are you doing to yourself? You're saying you want to build a wildly successful business, but only people in one place can know who you are. That landed for someone. I know that. Okay, number 5. This episode is going to be an absolute beast. Number 5 is your sales. So we've just talked about content and messaging and really creating that inward vacuum of attention from ideal clients and from some peers, because you are getting yourself noticed, you're getting yourself visible, you're showing why you're different. And this is bringing a lot of attention back to your social media profile, which is exactly what we want. Then you want to convert that attention into paying clients. So this is your sales process. So it's capturing that momentum that you've created through your outbound actions of posting and getting visible and doing the most. Now you're bringing all this attention back and you want to capture it. So what is your lead generator? What is your freebie? What is your sales system that is capturing the attention that you have brought back with your content, and where are you sending it? How are you building your behind the scenes business? Because don't forget, you don't freaking own social media. Anything can be shut down at any minute. So if your business is entirely reliant on social media, honey, this is your wake-up call. Any platform can go down. I can't speak for TikTok, but I know Meta has gone down multiple times. I don't think LinkedIn has gone... it has glitches. I don't think it's gone down, but you can still lose your LinkedIn profile. And in fact, I know lots of people who've lost their TikTok profile, so you can lose that as well. So knowing that any of your front of house activities can be lost at any minute, God, for the love of God, build your behind the scenes business, because that's the one that you own at the end of the day. If all the front end stuff got shut down, it's your email list you own. It's your free community that is off social media that you own. That is the stuff that is your gold dust. So if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I've dropped the ball on building my email list, or I've been sat on doing that freebie, but I haven't got it out yet. Or I've been meaning to do that thing and like bring more of my community or email my list more often. Girl, this is your wake-up call. Because all of that is contributing to your sales. How are you inviting someone to take that next step from social media into your world? Is that route clear? Whether it's your freebie, whether it's directly you're pitching your offers, is that route to buy clear? Is it obvious? Is it regular? Or evergreen? Are you selling daily? Are you expecting sales, but you're not even selling daily? What are you doing? Huh? Bad cop back in the building. 99% of people aren't selling nearly enough. They're just not. You're expecting sales every day, but you only sell 3 times a week. What are you doing, honey? So make sure that your route to buy, or at least route to take the next step to register their interest, a freebie, an opt-in, whether this is a masterclass, whether this is come inside your community, downloadable, free video training, whatever it is, make that route to take the next step, whether it's a small step to get this freebie, or whether it's my paid offer is over here, make that route to buy clear. Are you selling daily? Are you leveraging FOMO, urgency, demand, and capturing that in your sales systems? And then lastly, the last one is scaling. So by this point, you are clear on your ideal client, you've created offers that people want. You know your difference in the market because you're positioning, you're clear in those USPs, and you market them daily. You're very clear outwardly how you're different. You're being clear in your content, your messaging about how you're different. You're speaking to your ideal client's problems. You're showing that you can help solve them. You're speaking to their desires and goals. You're creating an inward vacuum with your content, your visibility, how you're getting out there, and you're creating this inward vacuum with your content that you're then capturing in your sales systems, both from outwardly selling, your freebies, your links to buy, all of this stuff, your sales systems behind the scenes. So now we've got a business that is starting to run on its own. You're getting clients coming in, you're getting people coming to your free offers, you're getting people coming to your paid offers, your email list is growing, your community is growing, you're getting your clients' epic results. So therefore momentum is starting to gather, interest is starting to gather because people are starting to talk about you on their own platforms. And this is how the ripple effects start to get outwards. I'd love to hear from you if you've not just experienced this, but if you've had the ripples and then felt them die off a little bit. Because some of you will be listening to this and being like, I know that. And so the best way to scale quickly is to not only just be able to generate those ripples going outwards, but to ride that horse for as long as possible. If you can keep going endlessly in business, incredible. It might be that you have plateaus and seasons of that. And so the best thing you can do for yourself is to generate those ripples of interest, because that is truly how you scale. If you've been doing this all through one-to-one, so let's say you've been posting specific messaging for your ideal clients, you've been signing one-to-one clients, you've been building that demand, building that momentum, you've been celebrating your wins publicly, building more demand, building more momentum, your clients are posting about you on their platforms, building more demand and momentum, which has meant that the supply is now really limited because you're booked out with one-to-one clients and the demand has outreached the supply. Therefore, you're in a position where you can scale. Hallelujah. This is the 6 steps to 6 figures. Now I'm going to come on to scaling. And the reason why I teach it in this way is that you will hear from plenty of coaches that you can launch a group offer before booking out your one-to-one. I'm just going to give it to you straight. Yes, you freaking can, but why would you? Why would you? Why would you launch a group offer if you haven't yet built high demand from your one-to-one? A, because you've taken lots of people through that process. So not only have you refined your own frameworks and you know that it works, so it's easy to take a group through that, but also you've already created demand. It's going to be a fuckload easier for you to sell a course or program off the back of your booked out one-to-one services than it is for you trying to create demand when it isn't there. Good God. I wish more people knew this. This episode is going to land in different ways for different people. Ush. So yes, you could launch a course tomorrow with no clients and no demand, but it wouldn't fucking serve you. Build demand first from taking on one-to-one clients, not just refining your own process, but getting different people results. You're going to work with different personality types. You're going to work with different business owners. You're going to work with different types of people. So this gives you the chance to work with who it is you really want to work with, rather than just being the yes man and saying yes to anyone. So the reason why I teach scaling after we've gone through like your foundations, your offers, your positioning, your marketing, your sales, so that you've already got momentum coming through the business before then scaling that and creating your one-to-many offer, is that you've already built demand and momentum, because that is absolutely key. You're going to really struggle to launch a course, program, any kind of one-to-many offer if there is not existing demand within the business. Good God, this could be a podcast episode of its own. There is actually a podcast episode on momentum, and it's called If Your Launch Feels Stretchy, It's Because You're Missing This. If this part is landing for you, go back and listen to that episode. Oosh. So yes, number 6 is scaling. And so this is where you're creating this demand you're leveraging the momentum you've already created. You've got one-to-one clients coming in. You're getting great results for people. There's excitement. You're celebrating your wins. They're celebrating working with you. It's all going hunky-dory. That is your prime time to then scale from there and launch a one-to-many offer. So your sold out launch strategy, what your incredible offer is, whether it's a course, new framework, new group program, mastermind, whatever it is, your one-to-many scalable offer. And when you're scaling, this is your enrolling new clients, new students, and really leveraging that momentum that you've already created to absolutely catapult you forwards. So everyone teaches this differently, totally get that. But I'm being absolutely upfront as to why I teach scaling after you knowing content and sales and have built that demand for the reasons that I've outlined. Oh, this has been such a juicy episode. I've loved this episode. So when you're having a little think, let's just recap what all of those were. Number 1 is your solid as fuck mindset. Number 2 is your solid as fuck foundations. Number 3 is your clear as fuck positioning. Number 4 is your content and messaging. Number 5 is your sales. And number 6 is scaling. Those are your 6 steps to 6 figures. P.S. This is exactly the route that I took to my first 6 figures. Literally in that order, which is why I'm teaching you. I go first. So teaching you everything that I did, and I want you to just reflect on what those 6 steps have been that we've talked through today, and think about where are your weaker spots right now. Where have you perhaps dropped the ball, or where's an opportunity that you could really lean into? Where have you lost a little clarity, which then has affected other things, i.e. you've not gone back and updated your ideal client for a while, and that's showing now in your content and messaging because it's not landing for as many people. Have you not gone back and updated your freebie as you've grown the business? So actually the sales system that's bringing people in is bringing in lower level people than you desire for your higher ticket program. Have a little look about either, this is what I mean, these steps will always need refining. Doesn't matter what point you grow to, you're going to need to go back and up level your ideal client so that you can create content and messaging that bangs, so that you can create offers that are relevant for these higher level people, so that you're selling either higher ticket or higher volume and more frequency, and then scaling those offers. But the ultimate thing is that demand is underpinning all of it, which is why you have to be clear as fuck. You're not going to build demand around something that you don't have clarity in. So, hope that you love these 6 steps. I certainly did. Have a little think about which is the most relevant for you. If this landed for you, message me on social media. I love when people message me about the podcast, whether it's a question or just an insight or something that landed for you. Send me a message on LinkedIn or Insta, Sarah Buckland Coaching. Love, love, love when you love the podcast. And if you're interested to get more help when it comes to these 6 steps, these are the 6 steps inside my program, Sold Out Sales Academy. This is the 6 steps that I went through, scaled my own business, and then created this program, which I've taken dozens of ladies through and helped them with their sales, land their highest ticket clients, land their highest months ever, launch their own programs, launch their new offers. And it's just been, I think I've taken, God, we've had 5 rounds of this program by now. So it's been dozens and dozens of ladies that I've taken through Sold Out Sales Academy. Now, it's been off the market for a while, but I'm going to be reopening it. And so I'm going to put a wait list underneath here. If you would like to be on the wait list for the program, just hop in. And when the doors do reopen, you should be first to know. But in the meantime, sending you so much love. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to see you next week. Toodaloo.